Good day everyone, I am Mr. ATL and welcome back to my channel. So today's video, we are going to discuss about the difference among the markup, mark-on, and markdown. So let's start. So at the end of this video lesson, you are expected to differentiate mark-on, markdown, and markup, and how to obtain mark-on, markdown, and markup given price of right product. So before we start, I just want you to know that there will be some terms that you will be encountering. These are the cost, the selling price, and markup. So I am going to use C for cost. The symbol SP is the selling price and M sub U is the markup. For M sub O is mark-on and M sub D is for markdown. So there is a situation here. Let me read. Eldridge bought an 8 GB flash drive for 300 pesos. He is planning to sell it for 300 pesos. So in this situation, I am going to enumerate some the given for you to know what is markup. So there are three questions. Number 1, what is the cost of the item? Number 2, what is the selling price? And number 3, how much is the markup? Okay, so let us answer for us to enumerate what are the given here. So for number 1, solution, the cost is 300 pesos. Okay, so nabili ni Eldridge yung 8 GB flash drive for 300 pesos at ito yung pinakapuhunan niya. That is the cost, 300 pesos. Number 2, what is the selling price? So the selling price is 360. So plan niya raw itong ibenta for 360 pesos. That is your selling price. And now, to find the markup, subtract the cost from selling price. Okay, so let us subtract. That will be, we can even use the formula M sub U equals to selling price minus the cost. And that is actually subtracting the cost from the selling price. So our selling price is 360 pesos minus 300 pesos. The M sub U or the markup is 60 pesos. So ito yung itinaas ng price from 300 to 360. So nadagdagan ito ng 60 pesos. So 300 plus 60 pesos is 360 pesos. 60 pesos is now the margin or the gross profit of Eldridge. Kapag naibenta niya na yung 360 pesos, magkakaroon siya ng 60 pesos na margin or gross profit. So from the formula M sub U equals to SP minus C, we can even manipulate this formula to arrive with the other formula to solve for the value of the cost and the selling price. So let us solve for the cost muna. From the formula M sub U equals to SP minus C, solving for C, so we can have C equals to SP minus M sub U. So we just transpose negative C to the left side and then transpose M sub U to the right side. Negative C will become positive C, okay? And then the positive M sub U, transpose it to the right side, will become negative M sub U. Okay? So that is also the same with applying the addition property of equality. Next, let us solve for the value of SP. So solving for SP, kailangan maiwan lang yung SP on one side. So pwedeng ilipat na lang natin si negative C dito sa right side. That will become M sub U plus C. So that is SP equals to M sub U plus C. So this is the formula to solve for the value of the selling price given the markup and the cost. Okay, so there are three formulas. Once again, the M sub U equals to SP minus C. Solving for the markup given the selling price and the cost. Another formula that we have derived is C equals to SP minus M sub U. We will use this to solve for the cost given the selling price and the markup. Another formula is the SP equals to M sub U plus C. We will use this if we will solve for the selling price given the markup and the cost. So do not forget these three formulas. Okay? By the way, if you memorize the first formula, it's very simple for you to derive the other formulas. Okay? Next. Okay, so here, same situation is given. Let me read. Eldridge bought an 8 GB flash drive for 300 pesos. He is planning to sell it for 360 pesos. So, it is clear that the cost is 300 pesos and the selling price is 360 pesos. And there are 4 questions here. We will find the percentage of selling price based on cost. So, let us focus on number 1. So, to find the percentage of selling price based on cost, we may need to find the selling price and the cost first. So, the selling price once again is 360 pesos and the cost is 300 pesos. Since we are trying to find its percentage, we will divide the selling price by cost, then multiply by 100. Since percentage is also per 100. So, let us divide our working area here by 4. Okay, this is for number 1. So, once again, we will use the SP over C, the selling price based on cost, then multiply by 100 and affix the percentage symbol at the end of our answer. So, substitute now the given. Our selling price is 360 and the cost is 300 pesos. Let us divide this first before we multiply. So that will be 1 and 2/10 or 1.2. Bring down the operation multiplication and bring down the 100. Then 1 and 2/10 or 1.2 multiplied by 100 is 120. Then since we are looking for the percentage, we will just affix or put the percentage symbol. Okay, so therefore number 1 is 120%. Let us proceed to the solution number 2. In solution number 2, we will find the percentage of markup based on cost. So in this particular situation, the markup here is the difference between the selling price and the cost. So the difference is 60. So that will be 60 over the cost 300. So once again, we will use the markup over cost multiplied by 100. So our markup is 60, our cost is 300 multiplied by 100. Let us divide this first. That will be 0.2 multiplied by 100 and that is 20. And then affix or put the percentage symbol. That is 20%. Let us proceed now to the question number 3. We will find the percentage of cost based on selling price. So the cost is 300. The selling price is 360. So the formula to be used here is the cost over the selling price multiplied by 100. Substituting the given to the formula, that will be 300 for the cost, then 360 for the selling price, multiplied by 100. Dividing this, that will be almost equal to 0.8333 times 100. Then let us multiply, so that will be almost equal to 83.33. Then affix the percentage symbol. So the answer is almost equal to 83.33%. Next, number 4. Percentage of markup based on selling price. So markup over selling price. We will use M sub U over SP. The markup here is 60, the selling price is 360. So let us substitute. That will be 60 over 360 times 100. Dividing these two, we will get 0.1667 times 100. So multiply these two numbers, we will get 16.67. So it's almost equal to 16.67%. Okay? Next. Okay, so let me give an example. Number 1, complete the table below. So there is a table with these columns, 5 columns and 2 rows. The first column is the selling price. There is a given selling price which is 55 pesos. The cost given there is 50 pesos, and we will find for the markup, percentage of markup based on cost, percentage of markup based on selling price. Okay, so to solve for the markup, let me put first the paper for our working area, and then let me divide it into 3. For the markup, percentage of markup based on cost, and percentage of markup based on selling price. So let us work on this part. For the markup, to find the markup, as we have said a while ago, the formula is M sub U equals to the selling price minus the cost. So our selling price given there is 55 and the cost is 50 pesos. So let's substitute. Okay, then let us subtract. That will be 5. So therefore, our markup is 5 pesos. Let us work now to the percentage of markup based on cost. So to solve for this, we have markup over cost times 100. Again, we have M sub U over C times 100. Our M sub U is 5. Our cost or C is 50. Then substitute. And let us divide these two numbers. We will get 0.1. Then multiply by 100. That is 10. And affix the percentage symbol. That will be 10%. So this is 10%. Let us go to the next one. So we have the markup or M sub U over the SP or selling price. Substitute the MU, which is 5, and SP is 55. So that will be 5 over 55 times 100. Divide these two numbers. That will be almost equals to 0.090909 times 100. So multiply. That will be almost 9.09%. Okay, so this is 9.09%. For the next example, let us go to the example number 2. So in example number 2, there are selling price and markup given, and there is a missing term for the cost and the two percentages for markup based on cost and markup based on selling price. So let me put the papers that we're going to work on. Let me divide it by 3. This for the cost. To solve for the cost given the selling price and markup, okay, so we will just derive the formula as we have shown a while ago. So that is C equals to SP minus M sub U. The C is missing and selling price is 828 and M sub U is 108. Let us substitute. That will be C equals to 828 minus 108. Subtract. That will be, okay, 720. And then this is now 720. Then solve for the percentage of markup based on cost. That is M sub U over C times 100. Substitute the M sub U, that is 108, and C is for 720 times 100. Divide these two numbers. That will be 0.15 times 100, and that is 15%. So therefore, this is 15%. Oops, it should be 15%. Once again, this is 15%. Next, let us go to the percentage of markup based on selling price. So we have markup over SP times 100. So our markup is 108, our SP is 828 based on the given. Then divide these two numbers. That will be almost equals to 0.1304 times 100. So that will be almost equal to 13.04%. And this is 13.04%. Let us go to the third example. Number 3. So in this table, given that cost, markup, let us find the selling price, the percentage of markup based on cost, and the percentage of markup based on selling price. So let me put the paper that we will be working on, then divide it into 3. This is for the selling price. So to solve for the selling price given the cost and the markup, we will be using this formula, that is SP equals to M sub U plus C. Our M sub U is 175 and our cost is 350. Substitute them. That will be SP equals to 175 plus 350. Then add these two. That will be 525. So therefore, this is 525. And then let us now solve for the percentage of markup based on cost. That will be M sub U divided by C times 100. Our M sub U is 175. Our cost is 350. So that will become 175 over 350 times 100. Then divide these two numbers. That will be 0.5 times 100 and we will get 50%. So this is 50%. And next, for the percentage of markup based on selling price, we will use M sub U over SP times 100. Our M sub U is 175. Our SP is 525. Then substitute, that will be 175 over 525 times 100. Then divide these two numbers. That will be almost equals to 0.3333 times 100. And in percent, that will become 33.33%. So this is 33.33%. Let us go to the next example. Number 4. We will complete the table where the selling price is given and the percentage of markup based on cost. So to compute for that, we are not going to use the formula to solve for the cost and for the markup. Okay? So, by the way, let me put the papers that we will be working on. So, to solve for that, we're going to use the formula for the selling price. The SP equals to M sub U plus C. But we do not have the value for M sub U for the markup and for the cost. So, we cannot find either cost and markup for that. So, with that, we will be using the percentage. Okay? So, to do that, it is being said na ang selling price ay nakuha kapag kukunin natin ang cost, dadagdagan ng 20% na cost dahil nakalagay dito is 20%, that is the percentage of markup based on cost. Okay? So, pag magbebenta ka daw, nakalagay dyan yung selling price para makuha yon, yung cost, dagdagan mo ng 20% ng cost. And ito yung pinapakita ng table dito. So, if you have 20% of C, 20% in decimal, that is 0.2. And of, the preposition of represents multiplication. And our selling price is 1,200. So, as you can see, pwede nating i-add ito. Or let us just multiply this. 0.2 times C is 0.2C. So, pwede na nating i-add since they are similar terms. 0.2 plus 0.2C plus C or 1C, that will be 1.2C. Then, let us solve for C. Get rid of 1.2. Divide both sides by 1.2. So cancel this, that will become C equals to 1,000 pesos. So therefore our cost is 1,000 pesos. Okay? So, to solve for the markup, we can now use the formula to M sub U equals to the selling price minus the cost. Our selling price is 1,200 minus the 1,000 as the cost. That will be 200 pesos for the markup. Okay, and solving for the percentage of markup based on selling price, we will just use the formula the M sub U over SP. So M sub U over SP times 100. Our M sub U is 200 divided by selling price is 1,200. So that will be 200 over 1,200 times 100. Then divide these two numbers and that will be almost equal to 0.1667 times 100. Then that will become 16.67%. So this is now our answer here. Okay? Okay, let us go to example number 5. So there is a given selling price which is 500 pesos and the percentage of markup based on selling price which is 20%. So let us put the paper here and divide it into 3 parts. So for the first part, for the cost. Okay, so to solve for it, we will use the formula selling price equals to markup plus the cost. Okay, so to find the value of the cost, we are going to replace the value of the markup, which is 20% of selling price, because it is indicated there that the percentage of markup based on selling price is 20%. So to arrive with the selling price, you're going to add the 20% of the selling price plus the cost. So there is a value for the selling price. By the way, 20% is 0.2 and the preposition of is represent that it is multiplication. Okay, so this will become 0.2 and of will become multiplication. Then we can substitute the value of selling price which is 500. So here it is. Again, the selling price is 500. We can now replace it by 500 also. So that is 500 equals to 0.2 multiplied by 500 plus the cost. Multiplying these two numbers, that will be 100. And let us solve for the cost. 500 minus 100, because we can transform 100 to the left side and that will become negative 100. So 500 minus 100 equals C. So our cost is 400. So this is now 400. Okay, so next we have, let us solve for the markup using the formula M sub U equals to the selling price minus the cost. So our selling price is 500 and our cost is 400. So that will become 500 minus 400 and that is 100. So our markup is 100. And then let us solve for the percentage of the markup based on the cost. So we will use M sub U over C times 100. So our M sub U is 100. Our cost is 400. 100 over 400 is 25 hundredths or 0.25. And then multiply 0.25 by 100 and that will be 25%. So therefore this is 25%. Okay, for the next example, we are going to have a word problem. Example number 6. When bought an item that costs 2,500 pesos, she decided to sell it with 30% markup on cost. How much will Gwen's selling price? Okay, so let us now solve it. But the given here, we have 2,500 as our cost. So C equals 2,500. And then, there is a 30% markup on cost. Or we can label it as markup rate based on cost. So we have markup rate, which is 30%, or the percentage of markup based on cost is 30%. That is the same. Okay, I have presented this because this is what we have done before when we are completing the table about this markup. Okay, so we are going to find the value of the selling price. Okay, so the formula to be used is the selling price equals to markup plus C. So if you are going to substitute the value of the markup, but it is not given there, we can replace this by the percentage of markup on cost, or the markup rate. But that is the markup rate multiplied by the cost to arrive with the selling price. Okay, once again, that is selling price equals 30% of the cost plus the cost. Okay, so we can now substitute now the given 2,500 to the cost. So that will be 30% of, by the way, 30% is 3/10 or 0.3. The cost is 2,500, then plus 2,500. Multiply this first. So that is 750 plus 200, 2,500. And adding this up, that will be 3,250. So therefore, when selling price to her item must be 3,250 pesos to gain 30% margin or gross profit. Okay, there is another situation. Eldridge is a reseller of 8 GB flash drives for 360 pesos, where he bought these items from the supplier for only 300 pesos as its cost. Due to its high demand, he decided to increase his selling price into 400 pesos. And we have 4 questions here. Let us focus on number 1. What is the cost of the item? So of course, the answer is, the cost is 300 pesos. Number 2, what is the original selling price and the new selling price? So the original selling price here is 360 pesos. So after that, due to its high demand, he decided to increase his selling price into 400 pesos. So this will be your new selling price, and this is your original selling price. So again, the original selling price is 360 pesos and the new selling price is 400 pesos. Number 3, how much is the markup? So markup, to find it, we will be using the markup equals to the selling price minus the cost. But in this case, we will be using the original selling price. So the original selling price is 360 pesos and the cost is 300 pesos. So you will have the markup of 60 pesos. But due to its high demand, question number 4, how much is the mark on? So to find the mark on, the new selling price minus the original selling price, or 400 pesos minus 360 pesos, our mark on, or M sub O, is 40 pesos. So therefore, the margin or gross profit of Eldridge, to find it, we will be subtracting the new selling price minus the cost, and that is 400 pesos minus 300 pesos. Therefore, his gross profit is 100 pesos. Nung hindi pa siya nagtaas ng price, 60 pesos ang kanyang gross profit. So, due to its high demand, nag-increase siya ng 40 pesos. Kaya, his gross profit is 100 pesos. Okay? Okay, so we are done with the mark on and mark up. So, let us just recall about the markup. So when we say markup, this refers to the amount added to the original cost to obtain selling price. And after having the selling price and you are planning to increase once again the selling price, that will be the mark on. So to obtain the mark on, the new selling price minus the original selling price. So again, for mark on, in case that the obtained selling price will increase or there's a temporary markup is added to the selling price due to high demand or any phenomenon, then the added markup is called the mark on. Okay, so let us have another example. Example number 7. Aling Mila decided to increase the price of the galunggong for 20 pesos per kilo. The cost of galunggong is 100 pesos per kilo. She is selling this with 30% markup on cost. What is its new selling price? What is its original selling price before adding 20 pesos per kilo? Okay, so let us solve for this. Let us put the paper on this part and write the given. So, obviously, the cost of galunggong is 100 pesos per kilo. So, our C is 100 pesos. Then, she is selling this with 30% markup on cost. So, in other words, there is a markup rate of 30%. And markup rate is also the percentage of markup on cost. So that is 30%. And we are going to look for the new selling price and the original selling price. By the way, the original selling price is also our selling price before. So before adding the 20 pesos, and the new selling price is the selling price after adding 20 pesos. Okay, so let us find the selling price or the original selling price. That is OSP equals to M sub U plus C. Again, this is the selling price before adding 20 pesos. So there's a 30% markup. So that will be 30% of the cost plus the cost. So 30% is 0.3 or 3/10 and the cost is 100 pesos. Let's substitute. So 3/10 multiplied by 100, that is 30. Added by 100, that is 130. Therefore, the selling price before adding 20 pesos is 130 pesos, and that is your OSP, original selling price. Okay, next, let us find the new selling price. Of course, the original selling price we will add by 20 pesos, and that is your mark on. We are adding additional amount, or we are having our mark on. Let's say there is a high demand. Okay, so OSP, that is 130 pesos, and our mark on is 20 pesos. 130 plus 20 is 150 pesos. That will be our new selling price. So we have answered already the questions there. Therefore, Aling Mila's original selling price is 130 pesos and her new selling price is 150 pesos because of the 20 pesos mark on. Okay. Okay, so there's another situation. Eldridge is a reseller of 8 GB flash drives for 360 pesos, where he bought these items from the supplier for only 300 pesos as its cost. To entice customers to buy more of his item, he decided to lower the price by 10 pesos. And there are 4 questions. Number 1, what is the cost of the item? Okay, so obviously, the cost of the item is 300 pesos. So therefore, we can write it here, the cost is 300 pesos. Number 2, what is the original selling price and the new selling price? So the original selling price is 360 pesos. And since he wants to entice customers, he will lower the price by 10 pesos. 360 minus 10 pesos is 350 pesos. Therefore, the original selling price is 360 pesos and the new selling price is 350 pesos. Number 3, how much is the markup? So, markup, to find the markup, we will use the formula markup equals to the selling price or the original selling price minus the cost. The original selling price is 360 pesos minus the cost is 300 pesos. And that will be 60 pesos. Our M sub U is 60. Then, number 4, how much is the markdown? So, we have markup, mark on, and markdown. So, there is a reduction of price. So, therefore, that is our markdown. So, that is 10 pesos. And to solve for that, we are going to use the formula M sub D or markdown equals to the original selling price minus the new selling price. Our original selling price is 360. Our new selling price is 350. Therefore, 360 minus 350, our M sub D is 10. Okay? So, the margin or gross profit, to solve for that, the new selling price minus the cost. The new selling price is 350 and our cost is 300. So, Eldridge will be having 50 pesos for each 8 GB flash drive's gross profit. Okay? So, let us go to the other example. Number 8. MLBB or Mobile Legend Bang Bang has an event and the skins of some heroes are on 25% discount. If the Fuel Turbine Elite skin of Atlas has an original selling price of 600 pesos, what are the markdown and its new selling price? Okay, so sa mga naglalaro dyan ng mga Mobile Legend, nagkaroon daw ng 25% discount kasi meron daw silang event. So, particularly, merong skin si Atlas na ang tawag is Fuel Turbine. Elite skin siya. So, ang original niyang price is 600 and meron siyang 25% discount. So, we will find the markdown and the new selling price. Okay, so this is the paper that we will be working on. So, the given there, we have the original selling price, obviously, it's 600 pesos. Okay, next, there is a markdown rate on the selling price, and that is 25%. So, from the original selling price, we are expecting that this will be lower than 600. The new selling price is lower than 600. Okay, by the way, we are looking for the markdown or M sub D and the new selling price. So, to do that, we're going to use the formula to find the new selling price. We will subtract the original selling price and the markdown. Or, para makuha yung bagong price ng skin na yon, yung original niyang price na 600, i-minus natin ng 25% on original selling price. Okay, because we do not know the markdown, so we will be using the other given one, which is the markdown rate. Okay, so that will be the new selling price equals the original selling price minus the original selling price multiplied by the markdown rate, because it is markdown rate on original selling price. So, OSP times M sub D rate. Let us now substitute. The original selling price is 600. Again, it is 600 and the markdown rate is 25% based on the original selling price. Okay, so we can now transform this into decimal form, then multiply by 600. So, that will be 150. Subtracting them, the new selling price is 450 pesos. Okay, so to find the markdown, the original selling price, subtract by the new selling price. The original selling price is 600 minus the obtained new selling price is 450. Subtract them, that is 150. This is the markdown. Okay? So if we will be looking at this, 600 minus the markdown, the new selling price is 450 pesos. So therefore, the new selling price of the item is 450 pesos. Okay? And the markdown is 150 pesos. It is because of the 25% markdown rate based on original selling price. Okay, so let us summarize once again the markup. It is the amount added to the original cost to obtain the selling price. The mark-on, in case that the obtained selling price will increase or there's a temporary markup, is added to the new selling price due to high demand. Then the added markup is called the mark-on. And there is a markdown also. This refers to the amount deducted or reduced from the selling price. Okay, so that would be all. I hope you enjoy learning about the lesson of markup, mark-on, and markdown, and how to solve problems involving this. And before I end up my video, I would like to give a special thanks to Mr. Eldrin Dalikan, and I hope you learned something. Goodbye!